Hello and welcome back to the Alt-ernative podcast. This is episode 17. It's just me and Aaron today, so no guest. We've got a bit of a different episode in store. We're going to be firstly going over our top 5 hip-hop albums of all time. So me and Aaron are big hip-hop advocates. Probably more of classic hip-hop compared to what's coming out in modern day. So it's been a fun week for me because I've been listening to. It's an excuse to just sit and listen to some old school classics, as well as some modern-ish. But yeah, so we're going to go through our top 5, starting with number 5. But before we do, how did you find the process of your top 5? Or?
Yeah, well, let me just say something. You say modern. I think the oldest album of mine is, or the newest album of mine is from like 2010.
2010, I think.
It was like 12 years ago.
Yeah.
I think it's 2010.
Modern classics then, right?
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, we've got our top 5 and then we've got an honourable mentions. I put too much work into this and I ended up with a massive honourable mentions list. Is it 2010? I know which one yours that one is then.
Yeah. But then on my honourable classics, I've got one. I think it's 2018.
Oh, 2018. Spanner in the works. I got 2011 in my honourable mentions.
2011. That's your newest.
Unless this... Oh, no, this one came out. 2012, but that's in...
2012.
Right,
I think what albums came out in 2012.
You better have this somewhere on yours. Oh, the other thing I wanted to say as well, when we was talking about it before, is these lists that what I noticed when finding like my albums was, I was like, oh, Aaron's gonna be pissed off if that's not in my top 5, or oh, that one should be. But then I was thinking, actually, like this list, this top 5 is based on like when you've listened to it, not when you first listened to it, but what was going through like your life at the time of listening to this album. And I think that plays a lot in how much you appreciate an album.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's like a lot of it's personal to you. Like my number 1, I wouldn't say is the greatest hip hop album of all time.
Yeah,
but it's number 1 to me.
Yeah, that's exactly what this is.
Yeah.
So, if we put this into a shorter clip or anything, people are like, what the fuck? Why have you not put this guy in? Why is it you've not even listed this artist? It's not about what is considered the best. It's personal to ourselves, and that's the great thing why we do so that people do stuff like this.
Yeah. Another thing I was going to mention, I think I took a different approach to you. I went just with my gut and what I could think of at the time. Wrote down all my favourite albums of what I could think of there and then just stuck with those. I didn't like any that popped into my head later. I thought I didn't think of that at the time, so it's not what I can consider in my top 5.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Well, and these top 5 are like, except for one that I think you already know that. I didn't forget it existed. I just never really listened to it. Like, I never really went back and listened to it.
Yeah,
until recently.
Since it got made into a modern classic with that one, because I know.
Yeah, like I used to listen to it a lot when it first came out, and then I just never went back and listened to it.
Yeah.
But we'll discuss some more later.
Yeah, well, as we get to them. So
start with number 5.
Yeah. Do you want to do it first, though, shall I?
Yeah, I'll start. Enter the Wu-Tang.
Oh, fuck, I put the same.
I just think Enter the Wu-Tang's such a sick album. It's so fucking raw. The production's raw. The rapping's raw. Everything about it is raw. I just love it.
Gives you that proper raw New York feel.
Yeah.
And the main reason why I put it on in my top 5, because I don't necessarily... Well, I thought, I'm not going to mess this up, but I love Wu-Tang. But if this album didn't exist, I don't think I would have that love for it. Because none of the other albums... They are good albums. They don't come close to how good this album actually is. And I was a bit annoyed putting it at number 5, but it's in the top.
Yeah, I think it like... I'm the same. Like, if it wasn't for this album, I wouldn't really listen to Wu-Tang. But this album has like made them probably the best rap group ever.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
they
yeah.
deserve to be in the top five. I think fifth place for me is where it should be, considering the albums above it.
Well, I was stuck between 4 and 5, but I think I made a good choice with number 5. I found it really difficult, to be honest, doing this top 5.
Yeah, this is what I said. Like, it's hard, like, just to pick 5 albums and put it in a top five. Never mind putting it in order, but it does make things a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, there was some of the albums though, and Enter the Wu Tang's one of them where yes, that's going in the top 5. It's just a matter of where in the top 5.
Yeah, like Into the Wu Tang's estate. Like, do you know, I've got some albums on my Spotify. I think I've got 3 albums on my Spotify that I've downloaded, and I can listen to them offline. That's one of them.
Okay, yeah. So I've also only got a select few downloaded, and my full top 5 are in there, and then a couple of honourable mentions are in there. But Enter the Wu Tang would never ever. I know we say that rap's gone, but that's that sliver of time for Enter the Wu Tang. I know it's not really our era as such, but obviously, the great thing about music is you can be part of that era. You can it's like a time capsule into the past.
Yeah.
And we're never, ever, ever going to see another album that's even like sort of close to the uniqueness of that.
No, definitely not. Like, when was it? I think it came out in '93, and it feels like it came from '93 as well when you listen to it.
Yeah.
Like, there's another album I've got, which is my number 4, which came out a couple of years after. It does feel like it's from the '90s, but I think the production's still so good on it. It's still like, if it came out today, you'd still be like, all right, like, this is like solid. There are a couple of songs on it that the production's still got that rawness to it, but nothing like Enter the Wu.
There's a few different reasons for Enter the Wu as well, because they were literally just, I wouldn't say pissing around when they made it, but they weren't making it. If you look at the other albums that we're going to go through on the list, they're professional.
Yeah.
These, like, you can tell they're just a group of kids, basically teenagers or however old they were, who just fucked about and made some music, and it turned out to be an absolute like piece of gold, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your number 4, or shall I go with mine?
You're gonna. I don't think you're gonna.
So we're going to talk about the best songs, but do that at the end.
We'll do it. The best song for Enter the Wu. Mine's The Mystery of Chess Boxing.
Okay. Mine's Tears.
Tears. All right.
But I found that even difficult. The reason why they're in my top 5 anyway, and definitely Enter the Wu Tang, is I can listen to every single song off that.
Yeah, every song is just a banger.
Yeah, and that's where some of them, when I was putting them together, sort of dropped down the hierarchy, because I was like, but then I don't like this song, and then I don't like that song, so I was like,
yeah,
then it's not the most ideal album to have on there.
The Mystery of Chess Boxing, because there's that bar in it where he goes, "I'm like cocaine straight from Bolivia."
Oh yeah. Okay, so my number 4 is the Marshall Mathers LP 1.
Ooh. Mine's Ready to Die.
What? Okay, you said at the start we can't judge each other.
Yeah.
On our choice. You think number 4 though?
That's what I mean. Like, it's so hard to pick them in order, and it's more because I just think the album's above it. When like you're saying before, the time when you listen to it and the reasons why you listen to it. Ready to Die was something I listened to because I got into hip hop. It didn't get me into hip hop.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I'm with you there.
So there's 2 more albums above Ready to Die that were probably my introductions into hip hop, which I respect them more because they introduced me into hip hop. And if they weren't the albums that introduced me to hip hop, I'm Ready to Die, whereas Ready to Die would be further up.
Yeah. Well, where I put the LP in number 4, it was hot. I had to put an Eminem album in there because I think Eminem, if we want to go down the route of artists, which I want to talk to you about once we've finished our top five or whatever. But if I had to go down the best artist, he would definitely be there at the top. And what I think's so sort of fucked up is because he's got that many good songs, because he's got an absolutely ridiculous amount of good songs throughout all of his albums. I was trying to pick one, which obviously is this one, which has the majority of his best work on. But as an artist, he would be so much higher up than number 4, probably, if not number 1, then number 2.
Yeah, like I didn't put any Eminem in my top 5.
Oh shit!
But that was a hard decision to make, and I think my favorite album is the Eminem Show as well.
The Eminem Show.
Yeah. So that's in my honorable mentions. The Eminem Show. Like,
Yeah.
It's like at the top of my honorable mentions. So if there's a number 6, I would put that in my number 6.
Yeah, it would have been one which probably would have slipped out of the top 5, but I had to put because obviously I went through and listened to these albums over the last week, and I thought, there's no way this can't. This is where obviously the LP is full of absolutely wicked songs, but this is someone I couldn't not involve as an artist in my top 5. But yeah, what's your number 3?
Number 3 is Get Rich or Die Trying.
Right, and I was thinking, I thought you were going to put that number 4, to be fair, but yeah, that's in my honorable mentions. My number 3, I know, but I know.
Every song on Get Rich or Die Trying is a banger.
I know, and I can just listen to it again and again and again and again, and it always feels like a new, every time I listen to it, it feels like I'm listening to it again, new.
Oh wait, we forgot to do favourite songs on number 4.
Oh yeah, shit. So, all right, what's your Ready to Die one?
Yeah, Machine Gun Funk and Suicidal Thoughts.
Okay. Yeah, Suicidal Thoughts is
such a deep song, man.
Yeah, I think that's a song off that album where I listened to it and I actually thought it's Biggie is something.
Yeah.
There's that one track. What is it? I forgot which album it is off. I forgot which song it's off, but he says, yeah, at last and we're rapping about blunts and broads, tits and bras, menage a trois, sex and expensive cars, and I'll still leave you on the pavement. And I just thought that lyric absolutely just sums up him as an artist. He raps about everything in such a beautiful way.
Yeah, he is a poet.
A poet, but it's like the essence of gangster rap within his poetry. Being a gangster or perceived as a gangster, or however these artists are. Yeah, but that's I put The Way I Am just because.
That's a deep song, man.
Yeah, because with Slim Shady, I think I might have told you about this before. So he's got 2 different personas. He's got Eminem, and then he's got Slim Shady. Slim Shady's like the jokes guy who makes fuck.
That's why I liked the Eminem Show, because it's got a mix of Slim Shady and Eminem on it.
Yeah. Whereas the LPs, they don't. I think there's a real Slim Shady, Please Stand Up, that's on the LP, but it's very heavily based on his life and but that's another good thing about Eminem, right? Is he's got 2 different personas, which you
can enjoy both sides of him. It's like listening to a completely different artist.
Yeah. That's what his curtain calls are, because they're his greatest hits.
Greatest hits, yeah.
His new one just came out, but his original one, that was Slim Shady, then Eminem, Slim Shady.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Your number 3.
Yeah, Get Rich or Die Trying.
Oh, sorry. Have I said mine?
I don't think you said it.
Good Kid, Mad City.
All right, Kendrick. He's not even got on my honorables.
Fuck. That album didn't go on your honorables.
No, forgot about him.
Oh shit. Oh, he's my my 3rd best album ever. And I couldn't choose a best song on the album either.
Yeah, I don't know everyone rates Kendrick, but
this is the thing, right? And I know what you're gonna say is he's gone shit, but I couldn't let that influence. I went back and thought, how did I feel when this was his latest drop, his latest release. Like
Yeah.
when I came across the album, how did I feel? And it was just it's the best. Even when I go back to it now, it makes me upset.
It is a good album, and it should be. It is in my top 10, even though it's not on my honourable. Sorry, I thought internet connection went. Even though it's not my honourable mentions, because this was just off the top of my head. It is a good album, but in my opinion, and it's controversial because fucking everyone seems to love Kendrick, it's his only good album.
Yeah. And even when I was putting him in my head, I was like, I've just gone off Kendrick so much, but I was like, I can't let that like betray what I actually felt about this album and the music he made before, because that era of Good Kid, Mad City was when Black Hippie was sort of peaking. Schoolboy,
Yeah.
he was bringing Schoolboy up, and obviously I couldn't find a place in here for Schoolboy, but that's because obviously he's not released an album which I think's even close to the level of he's got the potential to Schoolboy Q to have an album which could possibly even be in my top five. But yeah, that's the thing about some artists though in the modern classics era, if you want to call them that, they release half done albums. They put filler tracks in them, I feel like.
Yeah, and I think a lot of these modern artists, like, well, it happens to all artists, isn't it? It fizzles out. Like, what you like them for originally starts to change. Eminem, for example, like, although he released fucking in the late 90s, early 2000s, releasing albums that were just like bangers.
Who's that, sorry?
Eminem.
Oh, yeah.
And then
And he stopped taking the drugs, man.
yeah, and then he just went shit when he went to rehab, got clean. But Eminem today, I don't let that affect what I think of Eminem of the past.
Because it's like Snoop Dogg as well. Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
It's what would have happened to Biggie and Tupac if they were to not have died after only making a certain amount of music. They would have got to the point of Eminem and the point of Snoop today, where the music's not really that good, but it's like they're a whole different. It's another person. It's like a totally new artist in today's day.
Yeah, that's why I think like Dre just not dropping another album. Like, it's probably the right thing for him to do.
Yeah.
Like, to go down, to keep his legacy where it was. He released 2 albums, both sick albums, and then said he's going to release Detox, and I don't think that's ever going to come out.
I don't know. He's apparently dropping something with Snoop, isn't he? And I just don't want him to do this because I've got.
I don't want him to do it anymore. Like, when I was in like high school, I really wanted Detox to come out.
Yeah.
When you think like he released, what was that song? Kush. It was a good song, but it wasn't
to the standard of
the standard you expect.
Yeah.
So the album wouldn't have been to the standard you expect.
One thing I'm a bit annoyed about with Dre, and in my research when I was looking at albums I like, I put "Cruel Summer" in my honorable mentions.
Yeah.
Just because I think what Kanye did with them artists at that point of time, I don't know when did that come out, like 2012 or something like that.
2012.
At that point in time, you had like Pusha T, they 2 Chainz. I know 2 Chainz blew up quite big. I think it was just before Cruel Summer, maybe.
Yeah, around that time, yeah.
But he had these artists who were. Pusha T's always been underrated, but these guys were peaking at their career, and he brought them all into an album which was, I think, an absolute masterpiece in terms of Kanye's creativity to get these people together.
Yeah,
like, Mercy, that song is absolutely amazing. What I'm annoyed about
with Pusha T, we'll talk about Pusha T later because I'll bring him up. But
what I'm annoyed about Dre is he brought fucking 50 Cent up, he brought The Game up, he brought Eminem up.
Yeah, to get him on.
Even including himself, he could have got Cube back into it. Obviously, Easy past. But he brought all these fucking artists who are. I know the game's very much finished now, but that documentary album in my honorable mentions.
Yeah.
He could imagine having an album like Cruel Summer, but with Dre, 50, Eminem, obviously like fucking Nate Dogg, Snoop.
Like if he dropped that album, so I think documentary and Get Rich or Die Trying, they both released around the same time. I think documentary was like 2003, Get Rich or Die Trying was 2002. If he dropped them two, and then 2004, 2005, got everyone to just record, got to jump on an album when Eminem's still peaking or coming off his peak. 50's peaked, or not peaked, but 50's on his way up. The Game's on his way up. Snoop's Snoop. And then if you got a Lemon album a couple of years after that, like that album would have been fucking something special.
That would have been in this top 5. And
Yeah.
I don't even know what the fuck the songs would have sounded like, but you just know.
Yeah.
If he did what, and it only made me realise when I was listening to Cruel Summer and then I was going over like Chronic 2001 and stuff, and I just thought, why did he not just get these guys together?
Yeah. Because 50 Cent, I think he was made for a fucking Dr. Dre beat. The way Get Rich or Die Trying's been produced is so fucking sick. And this is another, I'm going to bring him honorable mention now, is Pusha T Daytona.
Yeah.
Just 'cause I think Pusha T is made for a fucking Kanye West
Yeah.
production. Him and Kanye West producing, him rapping, like they're made for each other, perfect. And Daytona is probably one of my favorite recent albums. Well, it is my favorite recent album.
Yeah.
I've not listened to an album in the past 10 years that I thought is as good as Daytona.
Yeah, I did listen. It didn't even make my honourable mentions list, but as we said at the beginning, I've listened to it. I love it. It's a good album, but I didn't like go crazy on it.
And I was supposed to see Pusha T in December.
Oh yeah, you were, weren't you?
Yeah, but he cancelled. I think he's moving it to next year.
Are you going to get tickets for that?
We still get to keep our tickets, and they're just going to give us a new date.
Yeah.
But it's a bit annoying. I was looking forward to it.
I think at the same time with what I was saying about Dre as well, is I think I don't know what he thinks, obviously, but he must have realised, because he did a Super Bowl thing and he brought everyone back together.
Yeah.
But apart from Game, but
Yeah.
the Game went a bit weird, didn't he?
Did you listen to that song, The Game, where he's dissing Eminem and using Eminem as well?
The recent one.
Yeah.
He's just, I don't know, he's just trying to stay relevant, I think.
Yeah. His time's gone now.
But the thing is, like, if he was doing that, like, I've properly fallen out of love with hip hop, like modern hip hop.
Yeah.
If he was doing that, and and albums like this were still coming out, and because we're never going to see like, half this shit that we're mentioning, even with honorable mentions, we're probably not going to see again anything.
No.
Caliber. But if it was still at that level, and then Dre was doing stuff, not Dre, Game was doing stuff like that, I would be pissed off. But because the hip hop's just a fucking mess now, I'm not even bothered.
Yeah, hip hop, I don't know. It's not the same as what it was. And I'll talk about my second number 2 now because I want to bring up a point on it. My number 2 is My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
That's in my honourable mentions.
Kanye, I think, is the only guy who has, if it wasn't for Kanye West or Ye, all of these albums would be pre-2010.
Yeah.
Even though honourable mentions, like Daytona was because of Kanye West.
Yeah.
I wish he wouldn't have done that on his own. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy was because of Kanye West. So he deserves to like be up there with Dre. Like,
yeah.
If anything, I think he's a better producer than Dre. I think this is the best hip hop album of all time.
My Dark. I want to know what your number one. I'm actually curious about what your number one is.
Because it's just a masterpiece.
I know what you mean. Yeah, it's like a piece of art.
Yeah, it's just. This is the album I was talking about at the beginning, where I listened to it when it first came out, and I've just gone back to it recently because of all the controversy with Kanye. I was thinking like that album was so good, and why have I not listened to it again? So I went back to it, and I was like, my mind was actually blown how fucking sick it is. Every song on it is like he just I don't know what he's done, but he's just made it perfection.
Yeah. Do you think there's a level of because when I was going through it all, obviously listened to my Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Um, that's made it to number 8 on my honorable mentions. But obviously, like we said at the beginning, for different reasons. But do you, like, for me, there was obviously everything you said there, like 100% correct. But there was also the level of that was, and we know that was the last sort of album for hip hop.
Yeah,
That was the last of
it's
the
probably the
great.
last great album you're ever gonna get.
Yeah, that was the last great album that's going to come out. Do you think that plays a part in it as well?
Yeah, definitely. Like, it's the last great album you're gonna get from Kanye West, and it's the last great album you're gonna get in hip hop. I this is all speculation, obviously. Someone you never know what's gonna come out in the future, but Kanye's obviously he's done, and his music hasn't been amazing as of recent. Um, but that album, like, it's just something else. I could listen to every song just over and over again.
My number 2, your number 2 wouldn't even be a thing if it wasn't for this album. And I know you've not really listened to this album either. It's Straight Out of Compton by NWA.
All right.
I fucking love that album. Like, I absolutely love it. And I just feel like what Dre. This is why I've got the utmost respect for Dre. On top of bringing like 50 up, Eminem up, the game up, and the music, the hip hop industry up. I don't think there would be such thing as hip hop, gangster rap, because he
Yeah,
invented gangster rap with this album.
that's the origin of
Mm.
the music, all the music on our list.
Yeah, yeah. Basically, literally, it is because what was it before that? Was it Vanilla Ice and shit like that? It was.
Like Run DMC.
Yeah, it was more like funk music, or I don't know what.
Yeah, funk mixed with rap.
But then he got these funk, because he's obviously a genius on the beats. He got these funk beats, chucked like Ice Cube and Eazy-E on him. And Ice Cube, back when he was like peaking in his rap career, was probably one of the hardest rappers in terms of like a threatening gangster that you'll ever hear. And he chucked him on funky beats. And he obviously discovered Eazy didn't even want to rap, and then he obviously identified his voice, and yeah, and then my favorite song off that album is "Fuck the Police." Whenever I listen to that song, because of you've seen the movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, whenever I listen to that song, like, I get goosebumps because of the way they went about dropping it.
Yeah.
They dropped
I
it.
need to watch that movie again, actually.
They got told not to play the song but then when they were at their concert, they were having trouble with like security and the police and everything, just even at their own concert. And then I think it was Cube was like, fucking just run the beat, and then everyone was like, no, don't run it. And then he's like, just fuck, and then Dre's like, fucking run the beat. And then so yeah, you've not properly listened to NWA, right?
Not properly, no. I don't even know why.
I don't know why.
I never delved like that deep. I don't know why.
It is old, but it's not that much older than Enter the Wu-Tang, I guess. It's a couple of years, maybe 6 years before it.
Yeah. Well, when did it come out? 88? 89?
So they dropped one 87. I think this came out 88. All right.
Yeah, what was your favourite song from your number 3?
Good Kid, Mad City. I couldn't pick one,
Oh,
which is a good sign, right?
yeah.
I probably couldn't pick one. If Straight Outta Compton didn't have "Fuck the Police" and it was for that reason, I wouldn't be able to pick one.
Mine's Many Men from Get Rich. That's such a tune, man.
That is a sick. That's a sick album, to be fair. What's
I
yours
believe it
on?
didn't make your top five.
I know, but it's just one of them things, isn't it? The hierarchy changes it. What is it
Then
on Dark Twisted Fantasy?
Runaway.
Is that the one where it's like ding?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think that was like produced like so well. Like that song sums up the album.
Yeah. Oh, he brought up Kid Cudi as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think if I was to pick a favourite song off this album, I would probably pick Monster.
One's a sick song as well. But all the songs on it are sick. But
Yeah, it's one of them, innit? That Power, Gorgeous,
Yeah.
wicked song. Blame Game. I fucking like John Legend in Blame Game.
Yeah.
I think
All the Lights as well. That's got what's his name? Elton John. He
Rihanna.
plays the piano and does the some of the vocals in it.
Elton John. Is Rihanna not in that as well?
I think it's got a few people in it.
It's not coming up on the feature list here on Spotify.
I think it does have Rihanna in.
But the song Monster, like, I'm not really, and this is another thing I want to talk to you about. We might as well talk about it now. Is I'm not a massive fan of Nicki Minaj and that sort of era of music. But in that song,
Yeah, she sings that song, didn't she?
I don't know what Kanye did, but he
Yeah.
brought like the fucking best out of her. But that's the thing. Before we get to number one, like you obviously know what mine is anyway. Now I'm guessing. But
Do you know what mine is?
okay, let's just do number one now, and then we'll discuss everything after.
Chronic 2001.
You put that number one.
Yeah.
That's on my honourable mentions.
Fucking hell, mate.
I put Ready to Die number one.
Oh yeah, I forgot you not mentioned it yet.
Yeah.
Chronic 2001 because that legit was my introduction to hip hop.
Yeah. That's because obviously, like, if the audience didn't know we're brothers, you should know by now. And it was an album. I was talking to the audience. But the album was, Dad's car when we were growing up. And do you know what? When I initially put down my list, I put Chronic 2001. I thought I'll write that down. It's going to go in there somewhere, obviously. But then when I listened to it, I was like, there's a couple of tracks that I'm skipping. Like, I'm feeling like I want to skip.
Yeah. It is. There's a few tracks on it that are like that, but just because if my beautiful talk to Tiffany is probably number one, but just because of
There's more of a personal reason, right?
the personal reason behind it, Chronic 2001 has made it number one for me. And Forgot About Dre is my favourite song on it.
Yeah, definitely. It would.
And that is I think that Forgot About Dre is probably one of my favourite, if not my favourite, rap song.
That's the thing, though, about this album, right? Is it's got Still Dre. It's got Forgot About Dre. It's got The Next Episode, and then there's that Bang Bang's a good song. But then there was just a couple. Like, that's the reason why I put it into honorable mentions, because I was like, I can't put it there if I'm skipping. If I'm feeling like, oh, let's put next one. Because I felt like when I was listening to it, there was a banger. Like, I want to skip to the next banger on it. And put all like the best songs on there are the best songs. Probably.
Yeah.
Fuck
You is a good song.
I just want to fuck. Do you know what that album, like, obviously we're from the UK, but what it reminds me of is every time I listen to it, even like the songs, I wouldn't say I hate any song on it. I like them all. I can listen to them all, and I can put that album on repeat. But do you know what? I can't. I'm going to find this hard to explain. I felt like when I was listening to it, it's the closest I would ever feel to being at like a hood barbecue or something.
Yeah.
Because the songs, they're not like we're talking about with Wu-Tang. They're professional songs. Like, you can tell they're professional studio songs. But for some reason, Dre's just got this mastermind where he can make you feel somewhat sort of away from his style.
Yeah, you could imagine like listening to it being in like lowriders out front.
Yeah.
Like
playing like fucking dice with
sort
of thing. But then when I was thinking about how it, like, because it makes you feel like you're at this hood party, where everyone's fucking strapped up, and
Yeah,
when everyone's just smoking. It's like fucking being in San Andreas, I guess.
yeah. But isn't that the point of music?
Mm.
Like for music to do that to you, that means it's doing its job.
It's worked. Like the piece of entertainment's worked.
Yeah,
When I was like thinking about like how it made me feel that song, then I thought about like Get Rich or Die Trying, and the tracks he produced on there made you feel like you was a East Side, like
yeah.
mini Uzi career type thing.
Like Get Rich or Die Trying's my gym album
Yeah.
because it's that greasy and aggressive.
Yeah, it's proper
Like,
New York style.
yeah,
Bronx. It's different to Enter the Wu-Tang.
yeah,
It's more of a. It's just fits 50 style a lot more, and I think he was good at identifying, because then you've got Dre, the game, who's from West Coast, and you feel the lowrider in all of his music.
yeah. Like the gangbanger. Like,
Yeah.
whereas 50s is a bit more colder.
Mm, yeah. And then obviously you've got Eminem, who he's like. Obviously, rap and hip hop's considered a black art, or whatever we want to call it. And he somehow fitted a completely new style with Eminem, who was like a white Joker, like a class clown type vibe. But then obviously we discussed earlier, he's got two different sides, and Dre found that balance between them both, like in another way. So one thing I've got from us both is hip hop wouldn't be fuck all without Dr. Dre.
Yeah, he definitely made it as he's made it what it is today. From my top 5 and my honorable mentions, he is responsible for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the albums. So sorry, 6 of the albums. So 6 out of 10 albums he's responsible for.
So I've noticed one thing: we both didn't put any Pac.
Yeah,
I'm Biggie over Pac, but I put Tupac greatest hits in my honorable mentions. I know
yeah.
it's an album, but
That's why I didn't put any Pac. I've not even put it in my honorable mentions, but greatest hits is where I see Pac at. Like that's it's just got all of his bangers on there.
yeah.
I don't really see him as like an album artist.
And that's why I didn't put it in my top 5. If it was an album that he released,
Yeah.
if it was an album, then we'll be talking probably different. But it's not technically an album. Same way I didn't want to put a curtain call in, because it's not. It's a greatest hits.
I got Doggy Style on my honorable mentions.
Yeah. I put Doggy Style, Cruel Summer, and then I think the only other different one is I put Rolling Papers in there from Wiz Khalifa.
All right, Wiz Khalifa.
Yeah.
I've got The Massacre.
I had that in with Get Rich or Die Trying, but Get Rich or Die Trying, you had that in your top 5, though, didn't you?
The Massacre and the Documentary were my first albums, like CD albums.
I don't think what mine were.
I copied it for you, and then there's that track on it, Bitch Get in My Car, and you was playing it, and then Mum walked in your room and took it off you.
So what year did that come out? 1999?
The Massacre?
Oh shit, and The Massacre, weren't it? That came out 2003, didn't it?
2004, I think, or 5. I think it was 5.
Or 2005 release, so I would have been 5, 6,
8. I was 10. I don't even know why Mum bought it me.
Oh shit! Just probably thought it was just a CD.
Yeah.
I put
I
this.
copied it for all my mates at school as well.
That's a. It's, I guess it's good. Just the way we got introduced to hip hop was through our dad's car, basically. Um, so there was this like I put this other part in because there's a lot of artists that are amazing. But for example, if all of Lil Wayne's tracks were on one best tracks were one album, that would probably be up there. If not in honorable mentions, it would be in the top.
Yeah, like Carter 3 was a good album.
Yeah, I had that actual. I think that was the first hip hop album I might have had, to be honest.
Yeah, I remember you had that album, yeah.
Hmm. And then I put a question to us both because I knew you wouldn't include it. But why is Jay-Z not in any of our lists at all? Because he is considered like one of, if not the best hip hop artist, but I don't like him. I'll be honest. The best style that I like him in is in Watch the Throne, and I can't really give him that.
Oh shit, I forgot about Watch the Throne. That's a fucking sick album.
That's an amazing album.
Jay-Z, he's good, but he's not up there for me. Do you know there's someone else who we've never really listened to and got into?
Yeah.
And people who are watching this will be like, why the fuck is Nas not in the top 5?
Yeah. Why is no one I've listened to the album a couple of times, but I've not. I don't know. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It just doesn't.
That's how I feel about Kendrick.
Yeah. With Good Kid, Mad City.
The album's good, like, and I respect the album, but I just don't. I'm not feeling it.
Yeah, if you just don't, I get what I can 100% understand because when you look at, if you go online and look at the top list, Nas number one on majority of lists, you won't get Ready to Die really at the top of many lists. And you certainly won't even get, I know you put Chronic there, but you were talking about Dark Twisted Fantasy. You definitely won't get that at the top of the list.
Should be though.
What I don't.
1,000 man hours it took for that album to be made.
Fact.
He went away, didn't he? Like he just went away and like spent all day and night in the studio making an album.
That's why it's a perfect album. Then.
Yeah, it's special, man. Like, but I don't know.
And then there's obviously Drake.
Yeah, I think Drake's just like the one song banger kind of guy.
He's got some good albums.
Take Care's a good album, to be fair. Take Care's a very good album.
I listened to Take Care. I listened to Nothing Was the Same. Nothing Was the Same's real. It's got some really good songs on it, but I find it more pop than, or I wouldn't say R&B. But do you know like how rap went to pop, like mainstream pop? Like
Yeah, well,
Drake.
do you know what it is? I think it's because like, and I think Kanye started the trend to talk about people talking about like emotions and feelings on the rap song and made that popular. Do you know that 808 and Heartbreak?
Yeah.
That Love Lockdown and stuff. Yeah.
That's a good album, actually.
Yeah, it's a good album, but that's where like he started rapping about like love and all this other shit, emotions. Whereas before it wasn't really rapped about much. It was more like gritty and dark or it was either gangbanging or like fucking bitches and that shit. Whereas when Kanye dropped that album, then it started getting popular to start talking about like feelings and love and all this shit on rap albums. And there's a lot of like new rappers that see 808s and Heartbreak as their inspiration for music now.
Oh, right, okay. Kanye's a beast, man.
He's so good, man.
Did you hear what Andrew Schultz said
about? Would Jay-Z be who Jay-Z is today if it wasn't for Kanye West?
Yeah, that's true.
I know Jay-Z was big before Kanye West was big, but what album was it that Kanye produced? Jay-Z's album. I think that's when he really like blew.
The Black Album.
Was it Black Album? Yeah, I think so.
Well, he was big anyway because he did Reasonable Doubt, and then obviously the Blueprint's like up there, isn't it? Magna Carta. See, these are good albums, but when I'm looking at his list, Black Album was quite good though.
But would Jay-Z have stayed as relevant if it wasn't for Kanye? Because Black Album came out, kept him relevant, and then what albums did he drop after that?
After the Black Album,
A Blueprint, Reasonable Doubt,
Magna
Blueprint 2.
Carta, the Blueprint 3. I don't think I've even
Blueprint
listened to
3.
that. Blueprint 2, obviously as well.
Then you got Watch the Throne, which brought him back into the light.
That's a
But
good
no,
album. That
does he drop any songs these days?
he dropped that 444, but he didn't drop it. You had to. Was it? You had to have Apple Music. He just went.
Maybe you have to sign up to his.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. He just went fucking commercial with it, and that's where a lot of artists die, is when they go commercial. Because when I'm talking about Drake, I'm also thinking you've got Young Money, who Lil Wayne was part of, and I know that was Birdman's thing, who's just a shit artist altogether, but he's a good businessman, I guess. But I like the artists that actually help bring up other artists. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because of the attachment with Dre, but obviously Kendrick brought J Rock, Absol, and Schoolboy up. Wiz tried to, but I think he just ended up smoking way too much weed.
Wiz, man. Went to watch ASAP Rocky. And I saw him, he was support act. He was so fucking weird, man. This was like after, do you know, like when we used to like Wiz, and then he fucking just went weird.
Yeah. But if you look at his albums, right, I'll screen share Wiz Khalifa. So, right. He releases way too much fucking music.
They were all the dice. That was good.
Yeah, so yeah, that's what I would say. Rolling Papers was like, to me, his peak of his rap. Because obviously before that, Cabin Fever, this was all roll up. That was on the Thingy album. But you've got Cushion OJ. Then you've got all of his mixtapes, which I don't think are all on here. But you've got like I'll Fly.
Yeah, Flight's cool.
Oh, but he's a wicked song.
Oh yeah.
So like the way he come up was like so unique because he's obviously Pittsburgh, and it's just he come up like a, I don't know, he had like a school kid type.
Yeah,
stuff.
It was like when I listened to him, I was listening to Mac Miller at the same time. They got like that similar style, like where I was in college at the time, and it's like
that's why it resonated so well.
Yeah,
and then obviously when at that age, like everyone's smoking weed, and his songs are like around smoking weed, and this album was just absolutely. I think it was absolutely beautiful. This album.
Yeah.
And then he drops this one. He dropped
that Taylor All-Stars was a good album, man. Like when you
this was such a sick album because it's just everything's just a chilled beat in it.
Yeah.
And then Cabin Fever 2 this is where he started going. This was a good album.
Yeah, this is where I started just listening to bits, and then
he dropped this ONIFC.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And then this is where I was a bit like,
yeah, he's got a bit weird here.
There are a couple more bangers on there, but less. And then after that, I just stopped listening. Like I didn't even know this was an album.
I'm the same. Yeah, I don't even know what these albums are.
And then he just rushed music out and just fell off to me. But obviously, he's still doing well because the amount of views he gets still high. And then he dropped that, which obviously kept him in the talk.
I think when he dropped that was a nail in the coffin for me.
This.
Yeah.
See You Again. It was a tribute to fucking
no.
Type. What a pun. And then he just drops off completely, I think. I think there was like one song on this one that was good. Oh no, it wouldn't even been that one. So I don't know, man.
But would you put ASAP up there?
What, in
Rocky.
terms of artists?
Yeah.
ASAP Rocky. Yeah, but I would put it in the same avenue as Wiz, as in
Yeah.
everything before was good, then it was great, and then it's just it's like a cliff.
Yeah, he fell off a cliff. Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
That's the thing about artists is I know it's choosing albums, but I think Kendrick drops off to me. Dropped off a cliff. I get it. He tried to do something new, but then there's the other thing where, as we were saying, like why do artists keep going with music when it goes shit? But
Skepta's a funny one because
I almost put Blacklisted in it.
He fell off a cliff and then climbed back up.
Yeah,
and then fell off again.
Yeah, he fell off that big time, and then he come with. But I was going to put Blacklisted in it, but
Blacklisted got him back up to the top, and then he just fell off again after that.
That was one hell of an album, that Blacklisted.
Yeah, Blacklisted so sick.
It's a mixtape, right?
Yeah,
but still,
I would say it's an album though. Like
a group, it's like music, isn't it? So, all right,
it's good enough to be an album.
Yeah. Right.
Right. So
we did an hour talking about hip hop. Should we move on to the next, or do you want to talk about anything?
Yeah. We'll move on now.
All right.
But that was good. A nice little change after last week's fucking podcast. That was very deep.
If you haven't seen it yet, check out episode 16. We had a special guest.
3 hours of us going deep diving on political agendas, woke culture.
I feel like we swam deeper and deeper in that one.
Yeah. Well, we started talking about Satanism towards the end.
Yeah.
That's how deep it got.
It all sort of points back to that, but let's keep away from that one on this episode and refresh.
All right. So the topic I want to discuss, and it's something that, like, I think, like, basically, David Goggins was on Joe Rogan again. I don't know if you've seen it. If you've not seen it, I recommend you watch it. Like, I know you don't really listen to him, but the guy is like, for me, I really resonate with what he's saying. I don't know why. Like, I don't resonate with him because I can't relate to the shit he's been through. But when I listen to his stories, I think, fuck, this guy's been through a lot, and he's come up and he's like fucking prospering. So basically, what he's like, his whole story is about his struggle and how he's used that struggle to sort of get himself better. So instead of like hiding away from the struggle and thinking, oh no, like, it is what it is, it's my life, it's my life, it's my life, he's thought, nah, fuck that, like, the struggle is only going to make me stronger. So he was saying in the podcast that he runs like 200-mile fucking ultra marathons. He goes, when he's running these ultra marathons, he goes, it's like living 7 extra years, the amount of shit he learns on that run about himself. He's like, oh, should I stop now? Oh, this is hurting. Oh, mile 100, how am I going to make it to mile 110? Like, he goes through all these like dilemmas whilst he's on this run. He said that it's like living an extra 7 years, so he becomes wiser and wiser. And this time on Joe Rogan's podcast, the guy just seems so fucking wise about life. And he talks a lot about how people hide away from the struggle, or they just live like a comfortable life, but then they say they're complaining that they're unhappy. And he's basically saying that you have to go through these struggles to learn your lessons to then better yourself in life. If you don't go through the struggle, then you're never going to sort of develop yourself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, well, what's your question?
All right, no, I'm just giving
Oh,
some background on David Goggins.
yeah, no, well, yeah, I know the question. So in my head, I'm trying to script up an answer to the question.
Yeah. So the question is, one sec, let me read it word for word.
I'm gonna listen to it. Um,
Is it always best to seek out pleasure over avoiding pain?
it's a fucking. It doesn't sound it off the bat, but it's a sort of it's a deep question because I think it's in like human instinct to avoid pain, obviously, because we that's just the way we're been sort of manufactured or however we've been made. So to avoid pain is like natural to us, but just seeking pleasure, like that's like corrupt and toxic in its own manner, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like what you're saying about David Goggins, like he's going through like a serious amount of pain, but he's obviously not doing it because he enjoys the pain. He's doing it because he enjoys the pleasure he gets after that pain.
Yeah, well, the guy, he's just, when you listen to him, there's nobody in the world like you can compare him to. He's so mentally tough that he makes fucking Joe Rogan. I'd say he's quite a mentally tough person. He makes Joe Rogan look weak,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
which is fucking. When I was saw them two together today, I was listening to Goggins speak to Rogan. I was like, "Fuck!" Like, I think Rogan's quite a tough guy,
Mm,
but David Goggins makes him look weak.
mm.
Just the shit that he does. He had a problem with his knee, and I don't know what exactly it is, but your knee should have some stuff. Do you know where it like bends like that?
Yeah.
It should have some like stuff there to like cushion the bend. He's been running on a knee where all that cushioning's gone and he's bone on bone. And he had to have an operation on it. And he's running like fucking hundreds of miles on it, just bone on bone. But he goes like, he always just thought, oh, my knee's fucked up, like, so I just carry on running. It's part of the pain. And he just blocks out the pain.
Is that a good thing?
I think he chooses to live the life he lives, doesn't he? But
Yeah. Well, it's a hard one to sort of decipher whether or not because it's inspiring, but when you explain it like that, it's like,
yeah,
what are you actually
you
doing?
think the guy's got a screw loose.
Yeah.
But he says like,
insane.
people say to him all the time, like, why the fuck you doing this? Like, have a day off and all this shit. And he's like, why the fuck should I have a day off? I want to do it.
If he wants to do it, then obviously, yeah, fucking do it.
Yeah.
Like,
But what it got me thinking was when and if times get fucking hard, these are the people that are going to prosper because they used to be in difficult places.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Whereas the majority of people in society are people who are used to these comforts and luxuries that we've got.
Yeah, well, it's like what we've been talking about on the podcast for a while. People aren't resilient enough. Like, so when the day comes where people do need to stand up and be a bit more resilient, everyone's gonna fail. Like, they're gonna self destruct because it's gonna be way too much for them. Uh, Personally, if we're looking at it that I think you need pain to if you just have pleasure all your life, that's painful enough. Because you need pain. Like the sun wouldn't feel so good if it wasn't for rain. I, I, I'm relating it everything back to this whenever we have some sort of like conversation about the mind and within it's a balance that you need to have. Like you need to have the right amount of pain to enjoy the right amount of pleasure. Having too much
Yeah.
pleasure is it's not good. It's not like you're saying people who have too much pleasure because people do now. Let's say someone your average Joe who's our age, mid 20s, they'll go to work. Um, that's their sort of pain. But then they're at work 5 days a week of pain because everyone hates the job and everyone's fucking depressed, or a majority of people are. And then they'll live for the weekend for their pleasure time. But in that's unbalanced because why not do something that you enjoy doing, but do it to the extent where it's hard work, if you know what I mean. For example, a YouTube channel, for example, if you want to do a YouTube channel which you enjoy doing, it's not all fun and games. It's not all just sit down and talking. We're trying to interview more people now. It's about grafting the interview.
Yeah.
It's about editing stuff on time. It's about getting content out there, which it's the same with any business. Is it might look all pretty and nice on the outside, but there's 50% of it at least, if it's going to be healthy in terms of what I'm saying, is going to be pain and shit and failing or doing shit that you just fucking hate doing, but you have to push through it. And you need to push through that stuff to enjoy the opposite side of it, which is we're learning shitloads. We're can have these conversations. We're blessed to have these conversations, and hopefully one day we'll grow a bit more of a bigger audience. But you need to have that sort of. You need them shit things. Oh, I feel like I need to have shit in my life for me to
Yeah.
make the other side of things. Um, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think you need some level of pain to be able to have the mental strength to push on and get the things you want in life. If you've not got that level of pain there, then you're never going to learn the art of like resilience,
Yeah.
which some say like Goggins has got too much resilience, or he's gone a bit too far with it. But that's the way he chooses that. Like if you listen to his book, like he's had a fucked up upbringing. So that's the way he's chosen to like deal with his pains.
Yeah. Which I'm trying to wrap my head around it because it goes kind of what he's in my head anyway. See what you can respond to this. In my head, like if you look at a graph which has the lower horizontal axes as pain and then the vertical axes as pleasure, I don't think you're going to be content unless that line is averaging the midway point. So it's going to go straight across diagonally through the graph.
Yeah.
Have the same amount of pain. That's where I'm saying about the balance. And obviously, as it goes up, that's your development because you're pushing each of them. You're not stagnating on one and having too much pleasure because then you're going to become weak. And then you're not having too much pain because you're still going to become weak, but it's weak in the depression side of things.
Yeah. Like how I look at it is like you can give yourself, so look at the graph and like you've drawn a line. So what I see is like if you give yourself too much pleasure, you need to pull yourself back
To the
give
line,
yourself
yeah.
pain. But you need to be aware of it. And this is how like I think you grow. Like if you're giving yourself too much pain and you're not getting enough pleasure, you need to pull yourself back down and give yourself enough pleasure to make the pain feel like it's doing something. Otherwise, you're going to get yourself in a hard place. But I think as like a human, like you're always going to be like hovering above it. You're never going to be like it's never going to be vertical, is it?
No, but that's the ideal line that you want to try and stay close to. But what I think a big problem with society and people is they're seeking out pleasure on the weekends, and that involves getting intoxicated. That involves staying up, staying out late for a massive amount of people. And I don't think that's the right answer. I think society and just the way things are built is telling people that's the answer. This is your pleasure, but people need to stop and actually think about what they actually find pleasurable in life. Like if you, I don't know, if you get a CV given to you and it's like you get a little section about like, what are your interests or whatever, And it's like, well, I love meeting up with friends. That just means I love going out on the piss.
Yeah.
That's not finding pleasure within. That's finding a replacement of pleasure
Yeah.
because you're getting intoxicated and you are actually causing more pain by forcing pleasure rather than stepping back and being like. And this is something because obviously when we quit drinking, well, at the end of this month, um, I'm thinking a lot about like other things to do, and it's not necessarily like, oh, I'm going to quit drinking, so I need to take up badminton, I need to play football more often. I'm not necessarily looking at these active things, but it's just finding things like, yeah, I enjoy movies, so why not sign up and get instead of the money I'll spend on drinking, why not sign up and get a pass? Do you know them monthly passes to the cinema?
Oh, yeah.
Things like that where I can actually find things that I like doing that not necessarily develop me because watching a movie doesn't develop me, but I love watching a movie and analyzing it and being like, this was a fucking masterpiece. Just like we've said with all of the music, finding things like that to be your pleasure
Yeah.
side of things. Um, it just all comes down to balance, I guess, with pleasure and pain. It's quite they're opposites, aren't they? So.
Yeah, the opposites, but I think you need them both in order to live a more fulfilled life.
Would you call it? Yeah, fulfilled or I don't. I won't. I'm trying to stay away from saying happiness because happiness is just pleasure, right?
Happiness, yeah. So you need a balance of them both.
And I've always said it's on a spectrum. I think the graph was a better analogy, but the spectrum is there's a content line. One day it's like what you said. One day you're really happy, and then the next day something shit happens, and then you drop down past the
Yeah.
spectrum. But it's about squeezing it so you're on the same line. But I think having the graph, if you're closest to that line, you're moving up in the world.
Yeah.
I guess I think there's a lot of pain in the world though, which people can't necessarily avoid because they don't know it is pain, and that will be things such as going to have a drink. They think they're just letting off some steam for the weekend, but you're not actually doing that. It's a replacement. So I feel like that's a sense of seeking pleasure, but it's a sort of like a I don't know what to call it. It's wrong pleasure. But the same thing is someone might think, okay, so for me to stay close to that line, I need to make some money for me to be pleasure. No, because if you look at life a little bit deeper, money isn't something you should be chasing. Because, as the saying goes, money is the root of all evil. In a sense, it is because of just the way society is built and the world's built. So if you're chasing money thinking that's pleasure, more money, more problems, as BIG says, you're going to end up causing yourself more pain because you're going after the wrong thing. You're not looking for something from within. You're looking at what society is telling you need to do, not what you actually want to do.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, what I was going to say is, well, what I wanted your response on was from that analogy, David Goggins doesn't fit in that fucking thing because what the fuck's he doing?
Yeah, like when you're looking at it in that way, David Goggins does it more for his mental state.
Yeah, and I think what you said as well, actually, it does fit in because he puts himself through that level. You said he um, when he does a 200-mile run, it's like he's lived 7 extra years because he's 7 years
Yeah.
wiser. So that's his pleasure in becoming
His
wiser.
pleasure is becoming wiser and gaining that extra
Yeah,
understanding of himself and the
yeah,
world
yeah.
around him.
I think the reason why I couldn't see it initially was because if we're looking at the graph, a lot of people are near the beginning, a little bit of pain to get a little bit of pleasure, or what most people have fucked up in some other part. But he's like tenfold somewhere where I can't even see being because I can't see myself running 200 miles like anytime soon.
Yeah.
So he's flying off into another dimension of his line.
He's like just like way past the Richter scale.
Yeah, but what you're saying about needing people like that is it's like what we were talking about with Josh. Like the problem in
Mm.
society is people are weak, are very weak.
I think like listening to this guy who sort of it hits home like how you can easily fall into these traps of being in like in your comfort zone. And then
Yeah.
when I listen today, like he's always pushing himself out of that zone. He said that when he feels like he's too comfortable or he's feeling like he's not pushed himself, he looks at himself and he thinks like the fuck, like I'm getting weak. And he'll go out and just do some mad run. Which it makes you think like that actually works. And like when I'm struggling like, to get up in the morning to go to the gym, like first person I think of is like fucking his voice in my head. And he gets me straight out of bed. It fucking works, like, and then you just go to the gym and you train. You have a fucking good training session. You feel good. You come back and you work and you feel good all day.
Mm. But then there's the other side of things as well, right? Where you need to find a balance between people need to train, be healthy, healthy body. Men, I feel like need to be strong. Uh, Women as well, like anyone, everyone needs to be strong in terms of their physical being. But if you're just because I know people at the gym, they're not necessarily like the most screwed on people. Do you know people who are like addicted to the gym? That I'm not talking about all of them because there obviously there's a lot that are, but there's quite a high percentage of people that go to the gym that all they think about is gym, 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 gym. And yeah, that's great. Like you're progressing your physical being, but your mental being is it seems like it's deteriorating more because you're not doing anything for your mental being.
I think once you understand your mental being and you go to the gym, those two working in tandem together, they you can get like complete control of your mental. Well, not complete control, but you get it helps you gain control of your mental being if going to the gym. But you need to understand your mental being before you. If you just go in for like to look good, then which the majority of people go to the gym to look good, they're forgetting like or they're missing a major aspect of actually going to the gym is the mental benefits of it. Whereas I like my like thing, I put the mental benefits of going to the gym and then looking good's like just a bonus afterwards.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, it's like
But the
that with a lot
mental,
of things, right? Any way you want to look at it, like I was talking about money before, you work on a business that you're happy to work on because you found it within. The money will come later. That's second in line to what you actually like. The mental comes at the top. But then at the other side of it with the gym, if you're physically in better shape and you're physically sleeping better and you're just physically better, then that helps with your mental because it sort of helps your brain work and helps you the flow of your body. Just they're both like proper tied in together.
it's all just like health, really. Mental health, your normal health, all fall in tandem with each other.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Physical and mental.
Yeah. Like, I think sleep's a massive thing that people disregard. Sleep, like, if you're not, personally, I sleep like 7 to 8 hours a night. And I think I need to sleep 7 to 8 hours a night to get, you feel fully rested when you wake up the next day.
It's so fucked up. Like the way we, I don't know about you. Well, yeah, I guess you as well. Were sort of not brought up, but the way we lived in our teens was 12 a.m. is not that late.
Yeah.
Um, because even to be fair, even now I look at the clock and think, oh, it's only 12. Um, but yeah, you should be going. But then Kate, the way I look at her, she's like, oh, it's 9 o'clock now. I'm gonna watch. an episode of this and then go sleep. And then like ages ago, I was always like, "What the fuck is that? He's young." And then just go down some YouTube rabbit holes or something. Which I'm not like annoyed at because that's made me who I am today. But realizing that actually going to sleep early, you wake up and the next day you're on form.
Yeah.
You're fresh.
That's why I like waking. I like going to sleep early, waking up early, and then I just like feel good the whole day. And then by the time you're ready to go to sleep again, like about 8 o'clock, you start feeling tired, and 9, half 9, you start getting ready for bed, and then go to sleep at 10. Then wake up at 6 again the next day. Like it's a nice. I think it's that for me anyway. Yeah, but everyone's different. But that works perfect for me.
Yeah, I like to get in bed. I tend to get in bed, watch TV or whatever, watch some YouTube, catch up on some news or whatever until about 10, and then I like reading for the hour. But recently, usually I can read a book and then sort of just nod off. But I've been reading. I need to fucking like read these other books for our book club. I've nearly finished the 12 Rules, but I've been reading the Third Reich, and that's one book I just it hooks me like a binge watching a TV series.
All right, yeah.
Where I'm just like, I'm not going to sleep yet. I'll just read a little bit more. I've never ever had that with a book. I usually just nod off. So
Does it make your mind like feel active after you read it?
no, it's just how interesting it is.
All right.
The author.
Do you recommend it?
I'd recommend that book to fucking anyone and everyone.
You know more about Hitler now?
I'm getting there. It's very because it's massive. It's very slow.
All right.
So I'm still. He's not in any political power yet.
All right. Oh bloody hell! You've been reading it for ages, though.
Yeah. Well, I've been reading it and then another book as well. But yeah, I'm excited to quit drinking. I think.
Yeah, I'm like ready for it. I can't even be asked. I was ready for it like 2-3 months ago, I think.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad I put a date on it to stop, and I didn't just say right, I'm out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to that point now where I'm going out drink. Well, when I am having a drink, I'm just thinking, getting home and thinking, was it worth it? Like, not really.
It's the next day I can't be asked with. Because I know even on a weekday, if I go out for 2 pints, I'm not going to wake up and go gym. And then I'll just be like, feel shit all day. I'll not feel shit all day, but I just won't be like as 100%.
And then I feel like the workload that you can actually, just not the workload, but your mind capacity of what you can actually do will like tenfold.
Yeah.
When you cut, it's a drug, isn't it? So you need to cut that drug out.
Yeah. I was listening to someone. I don't know if it was Goggins said it or it was on another podcast, but he said that they've never met anybody who takes drugs and has their life in order.
What, classing alcohol as a drug as well?
Yeah, I don't know. He just said drugs. But,
All right. Because Joe Rogan takes a lot of drugs, and I feel like his art life is in very.
Yeah. Well, he said there's very few people.
Yeah.
I think it's Andrew Tate actually.
Liking Andrew Tate more and more. The more I'm listening. I've never apart from the Piers Morgan interview, I've never sat and just chose to watch him. He just sort of crops up, doesn't he? He just crops up.
That's it. It just crops up on your YouTube shorts.
Yeah. Even on my normal feed now, he's cropping up. I like his brother as well. His brother's smart,
Tristan.
Yeah.
So do you know like the backstory of him?
No. Oh, so I know like the bits and pieces. I don't know it.
All right, like basically him and Tristan were both broke. Tristan was working like a 9 to 5, and then he was doing some sales or something. And then Andrew was like, "Oh, I'll get a job there as well." And then Tristan was like, no. He goes, don't get a job here. I will provide for us both on this paycheck. You go off and do like what you need to do and make us some like real money. So then Tristan was like providing for him when they were poor. And then Andrew obviously did his kickboxing and all his other stuff. And then made them real money. And then that's where they are today.
Oh,
That's why
right.
they're like pretty much joined by the hip now.
Yeah. So what about their parents?
His dad died. His dad was like a chess grandmaster or something.
Yeah, oh shit, yeah, I heard about that. But
And
he
his
died
mum,
when they were young, right?
yeah, I don't know how old they were. And his dad left his mum, or they got divorced. So his dad was around like every now and then, but not much. And then I think his mum looks after him. His dad was from America. His mum's from UK.
Yeah. Um, I don't understand the hate. I can't get to grips with it.
Yeah, I don't understand it either.
But the
The
more,
more I've listened to him, the more I've understood him.
mm, I can't understand
I think
it.
that's what people aren't doing. They're listening to like little snippets of what he's saying and not listening to him properly. It's like Jordan Peterson.
My problem with it is with Jordan Peterson. I understand he needs to be a bit more careful in how he speaks and how he articulates himself, like he does, like he is. He still gets hate, but he did. I understand why he needs to be a little bit more careful. With Andrew Tate, he's just like you or me. Yeah, he's got shitloads of money, but we're not too careful on how we speak. But he was just like you and me. Imagine 5, 10 years time, we're still the same, but we've got a massive audience. Then people are going to start judging us on what we say. But why? Because we can say what was free speech. We can say whatever we want, however we want to say it. You can't be mad at someone because of the way they articulate themselves.
Yeah. The way they articulate, and then his views on life are like, he's got a more traditional view on life.
Yeah, but
There's
that's
nothing wrong with that.
I think someone said, I don't know if it was about Andrew Tate, but you've probably heard it before. It's like, you don't like a stand-up, you might not like Ricky Gervais. Okay, don't fucking buy a ticket to go and see him then. Shut up and get on with your life. But yet people still have a problem with Ricky Gervais. Just shut up and, if you don't like someone, don't fucking listen to him. If you don't like Andrew Tate, just don't fucking listen to him. Don't get annoyed at what he says. Just fucking move on. But honestly, I can't get my head around why people get so annoyed at. He's not forcing anyone to do anything. He's not. He's just talking like you and me are talking right now.
Yeah. I don't get it. Why all this hate for him. But it's because
Because of the way he articulates himself, though, isn't it?
he's going against the grain as well, isn't he? He's going against what the narrative is.
Yeah, well, I know we weren't going to talk about this shit, but it's becoming more and more obvious, definitely with Kanye as well. And you say what you want about that Alex Jones interview. I know exactly what Kanye West was doing at that interview.
Go on, what?
He's just fucking pushing it out to see what he can
Yeah.
actually do. He doesn't.
See where the line is.
Yeah, he's obviously found some shit out and fucked Balenciaga off, fucked Adidas off. From what were portrayed, it was their choice to cut Kanye out. It's not. He doesn't want anything to do with this shit. He's selling fucking £20, $20 t-shirts now with Balenciaga scribbled out.
Who is he?
Yeah, I don't think he's dropped them yet, but they're all
Oh,
going to be. I'll show you one. But then, obviously, you've got Andrew Tate who's talking about get the fuck out of the Matrix. Like, there's an opportunity now. You've got basically Andrew Tate saying there's a window that we're in for you to fucking realize that you need to get out of the Matrix. If you don't realize within this short window, you're like, and we've talked about this on the phone, like, off the podcast, that there's a short window for people to realize, and if you don't realize, you're gonna get eaten up. What's that saying? People who are the people who are most oppressed don't think they're not oppressed. So, but that's what Andrew Tate is trying to say. Just get out of the fucking. Stop listening to the news. Stop believing all the shit you read on the internet, and all these news articles, mainstream media, there's like, it's so from I would say our podcast. We're on episode 17. There's been a hell of a researching project for me because I figured out so much shit of how this
Yeah,
world's working.
we both have.
But
How the
then
world works, how money works.
what it's all pointing to, and yeah, it gets a bit dark and scary. But these people, Kanye West, Andrew Tate, even Jordan Peterson, they've figured this shit out.
The difference with them, though, they've got the financial means to escape the matrix.
Yeah. That's the
That's
problem. That's why they've got us by the balls.
yeah. And you can even say like, or you can live financially free if you sort of like reduce your means of living. So like,
Yeah,
don't be so extravagant, but you're still going to be tied into the system. You need to be
yeah.
like a certain level of wealth, like Andrew Tate or Kanye level of wealth to be able
Yeah.
to like,
Because you're reliant on money in that sense. Do you know? You
yeah,
can tell you something that I figured out because I was looking at houses, and then I was looking into help to buy scheme, and then I was just thinking a government scheme. Right, let me look into it because this is fucking dodgy. Do you know what I fucking realised? They're building in the UK. I don't know what they're doing in America, but they're building fucking mass plots of new builds, like millions of them, and millions of new builds. But everyone's been saying for years the shit quality, the shit quality, the shit quality. Like why aren't they putting any regulations in? Like why are they not sorting? Why are they allowing for these plots to be built with such shit quality housing that's not going to last? You look at houses that like were made hundreds of years ago. They were built to last a lifetime of well multiple lifetimes of humans. But then they're looking at these ones saying, would they even like if there was to be a like a tornado or an earthquake or whatever in the UK, a lot of these houses are gonna like be broken. So when the government says this is a help to buy scheme, we'll give you the money. What it means, and then the building only you can only do the help to buy on a new build. Is to get all these people into these new builds, which they know are going to break, and then when they break, they're going to say, "What do we say? Create a problem and then provide a solution." Oh shit, your house will come and you don't even need to. We'll replace it. You don't need to pay for it. We'll own it, but you can live in it. That's what I think. That's what this whole new build scheme is, and I think normal housing are going to get taken down and replaced with new builds.
I don't know if they'll replace normal housing. I don't know.
Not yet. They're just filling up the empty land first, aren't they, with fucking mass plots of new builds, and then
Yeah,
saying,
getting
"We'll
them
help
on
you buy
that
them.
help to buy.
We'll help you move in, guys." And then I was thinking, why is the government going to give me money? Like they take my money off me. Why are they going
Mm.
to be giving me some money? It's not to help me.
Nothing's free.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So I started looking into it and going down some light YouTube rabbit holes, and I come to the conclusion that this is a fucking great reset scam
Yeah.
because they know
Well,
they're going to break.
I was listening to a guy and he was talking about how they'll introduce the CBDC. Um, so what they'll do is they'll entice the poor people. Well, I don't want to say poor people. The people with
The brokies.
the brokies in with giving them free CBDC. Basically saying, "Oh, here's free 5 grand in the new currency. Like spend it however you want." And then they'll get them on board, and then the richer people they'll save until last because they've obviously got massive amounts of wealth, and they don't want everybody to move. They don't want it one on one with the current currency, otherwise there's no point because we're just in the same situation. So they'll slowly take away or devalue the rich people's wealth until they have to move to the CBDC.
All right. Yeah, it's all laid out this time. I think we mentioned it on the last podcast about it feeling like we're coming to the end of a book,
Yeah.
and we said
And
that
I
in the
think
chat multiple times.
the CBDC is fucking a weird one.
Well, money itself is so fucked up anyway.
That's
The
why,
way,
like, my thinking is the only thing I can do with my money right now that I think's got some future benefit is buying assets with them. And the easiest asset we can buy is just digital assets. So crypto.
yeah.
And that's what my thinking is now.
But then this fucking FTX shit has just made me skeptical as fuck. I don't know if it's so fucking deep that
Yeah,
FTX.
but if you think about it, anything in the media is there to scare the people. If you think about it, yeah, the media aren't telling you your money is pretty much going to be worthless. The media haven't really publicized that America printed 40% of the USD money supply in 2020. So your money's worth 40% less. They've not said that, have they? Because they want you to be confident in the currency that's in play today. So why not make people skeptical of crypto where they're looking to move the money system to so they can keep it as low as possible? If everyone stopped believing in the current currency today, then it's worthless. Then this pound sterling that we've got is just a piece of paper.
Yeah.
But if everybody went into like Bitcoin, for example, and started spending Bitcoin, and then your local shop was accepting Bitcoin, and then your bar was accepting Bitcoin, and everybody was just trading Bitcoin with each other, and that's the new currency. That's what the people are using.
That's the only way it's got legs is if it's being used.
Yeah.
It's usable.
So, like, that's all my thinking is that's the only place where there's going to be some. Otherwise, your money's worthless anyway.
Yeah. Fucking hell. I thought we weren't going deep on this one.
Yeah. But I don't know. You don't know, do you? But from our research, and I'm pretty confident in it, of what's happening. I don't know how it's going to happen, how it's going to play out, what cryptocurrency is going to be used. Like I've got an idea. Like we've discussed it, but I'm pretty confident of what's going to happen. But you just never know. And I think to be from looking like in the past and opportunities that like we've known about but missed out on. Like, is this something we know about and we've thoroughly researched?
Yeah. I guess with like Andrew Tate and stuff, I know they've got financial freedom to the extent that I don't know that they've got it, but they've got also got a platform. With that money comes a great platform, and they're using that platform to make people aware. That's why Kanye's been deplatformed. I know Twitter's something different with his suspension there because he was just pushing the fucking boat to see like what free speech like there's free speech doesn't exist. That's basically what he was doing, proving
Yeah.
that everyone thinks free speech exists right now. He was just basically proving that it doesn't exist. That's all he was doing in that situation. And I don't know, call him crazy. I don't think he's crazy.
There's a video of Arnold Schwarzenegger saying that he respects Hitler.
Really?
No one spoke about that. I think that was in the 70s or 80s, though. No one said nothing.
It was a different time, wasn't it? That was a time where probably free speech was allowed. Now it's tough. This whole free speech has been rolled out to cancel people to stop them from talking about getting out of the matrix, as Andrew Tate says. That's why it's all been put into place. It's not about dead naming someone. It's canceling people who are talking about real things. That's the dead naming and all that side of things is just more of a decoy to make canceling people like normalize it.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
whilst everyone's fussing, it's a distraction then. Yeah.
Disruption, yeah.
Whilst everyone's fussing about what gender they are or what gender they fit in, which is a fucking problem in itself. When because in that community chat, we're looking at that book that was being read to 5-year-olds saying choose your gender.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
it's another way of
Also,
weakening people. As well.
my thoughts on Elon have changed a bit.
Are you skeptical about his behaviour?
Yeah, I think I said it in the community chat.
Hmm.
He just he wants to turn Twitter into a WeChat replica, and then you've got WEF clan saying they want to replicate China's policies in the West, and you've got a guy who owns Twitter wanting to turn it into WeChat, owns probably the next generation of networking through satellites through SpaceX,
Starlink.
Starlink, sorry. Um, and he's recently been talking about releasing a phone. So you
Hmm.
can be using your device on his network using his platform.
And then he's
And
FDA has signed off most of the Neuralink in humans.
yeah, so you're gonna have his implant in your head with his platform on there.
This is what I said like ages ago. Like this Neuralink thing turns Elon into our god.
Yeah,
And was it on the Joe Rogan podcast I was listening to? Yeah, yesterday whilst I was driving, I listened to it. I don't even know who the guest was. I just put it on my phone and was listening to it. And then he was saying the way you might have listened to it, the way humans are developing. And if you want to look at Elon being sort of a more developed human in a sense that he's got all the power to do whatever he wants. He's at the top of the chain of human development in that sense. That the only way forward, obviously, there's going to be stages to it, but the eventual goal is he's going to get full control of everyone in Earth, control the actual Earth, and then he'll what's next? He's doing SpaceX. He's going to then expand into more control within the universe. What does that sound like to you? That sounds like
yeah,
fucking God. So when they're looking, and then I think he talks about ancient apocalypse, Graham Hancock's thing, and then he was saying like these, whatever was there before, obviously in a different route of technology, they would have had these godlike figures, but and then we now might refer to them as the gods that we look at, but they would have just progressed on a different route of technology to become the people they were. If you look at like the gods of Hinduism, the gods of Christianity, the gods of whatever, they developed because we know they developed on a completely different path of technology because you don't find any fucking laptops like fossilized or whatever.
yeah.
Um, so they took a completely different route. We will probably never be able to even come close to figuring out what route they took, but they would have got godlike characters at the end of it, and then something happened. We don't know if it was a natural thing for the Ice Age to happen, or if it was like something that civilization made. We don't actually know because we don't know what powers they had.
Well, I was listening. I don't know if it's in Rogan or something, but he was saying that in the Amazon rainforest, that rainforest was it's man-made.
Yeah. There was civilization there before.
Yeah, and the whole rainforest now is all because of man. And they're
Mm.
saying that the soil there it fertilizes itself, and nobody can figure out why or how and
Mm.
why that's there in the Amazon rainforest.
All right, that's well interesting.
But they know all these cities were in the rainforest
Mm.
around all this, like where all this food is that's being grown with this soil. There's so many unanswered questions out there. It's weird.
But then it's like what Graham Hancock says is surely because everyone's so convinced on the narrative of what civilization was before, that surely if someone's like hiding something or someone knows, because the narrative's so much against it. There's no one's like, oh, actually, let's explore that further. They're all nope, 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 nope. That didn't happen. It was a fucking ice age, and then humans started.
Yeah.
But
And then it makes you think like, what are they hiding?
yeah,
So then you start delving into rabbit holes like what we was talking about last week about like the occult and Satanism and all that shit. And then recently this week I looked at fucking Catholic Church as another next thing where people are saying that that's satanic and there's a lot of secrets that are hidden in Vatican.
yeah.
So whether they know something about our past that we don't know.
And then on another theory, which sort of just came into my head then, it's a bit far fetched maybe, but if you think about like we don't know who the people are that are in charge. We only know the people that they want us to know who are in charge. So it's not like Klaus Schwab's the man.
Yeah.
He's not going to be the man. It's not like Elon's going to be the godlike figure. I don't know. Well, to us he will be, but still puppeted by someone else. He might just be what you might call the messenger. I guess I don't know. But if right, so we go back to all these civilizations. What's saying? And then you're looking at like the way they're pushing unnatural remedies with big pharma and all that shit on us now. All these like chemical infused shite, but they're really trying to stay away from natural healing and all this kind of stuff. But what if these civilizations, we know, well, we think that they were fucking advanced. Like you've just talked about the rainforest that can do that sort of cycle is like we can't even work that out.
Yeah.
What if they knew more? What if they knew certain natural remedies to make you live longer or live forever, the human species? What if they work that out? What if them ancient civilizations are still the ones that are in charge now, but they found something, they found a key to immortality.
Whoa.
And what if they're the ones that are still in charge, they've been around this whole time and they just don't want it to be found out?
That's mental.
It's like the fucked up thing is, if I said this to you 10 years ago, you said stop fucking smoking that weed, man. But now,
The funny thing is, you don't even smoke weed anymore. I'm thinking like this.
but now I've told you when we've gone through this year, 2 years of delving deep into the earth, it sounds like it could be a possibility. Therefore, with this, I love this ancient apocalypse.
Yeah. And whatever is censored or whenever they try and stop someone from digging, it always raises my suspicion as to why.
Mm,
Like, why would you want to stop someone researching where if there is a possibility that humanity started or civilizations started way before we
that's
even
information
imagined?
that we would thrive off, because then we
Yeah.
could get more heads involved to look into it and find out so much more stuff. But because it's just been cut off and you've just got Graham Hancock.
Yeah. It's like Graham Hancock and a handful of people that look into this stuff.
Yeah. Well, imagine if you had like, I don't know, 20% of Earth's population looking into this.
Yeah. You find out so many more questions about humanity.
Mm. But they don't want us to. That's what makes me think they're here still. Oh, we're gonna die, man.
No, don't stop saying that.
Oh yeah, we cracked the Matrix. Let's get Andrew Tate on.
But regarding CBDCs and the tyranny that they're probably going to bring, there's a country, Ecuador, and they are now using Bitcoin as their legal tender.
Yeah, they've been doing that for a few months now, haven't they?
Yeah, I think about a year.
Yeah, because India and another country are going to adopt the same thing that they're doing. First.
India are doing their own CBDC.
Oh yeah, it's not the same CBDC, but it's the same model that they're using, right?
Yeah, but Ecuador are using Bitcoin, so
All right.
it's decentralized. CBDC is going to be controlled by the government.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
So
because
Ecuador's is all decentralized and freer. You got
yeah,
no government intervention with CBDC with Bitcoin. Sorry,
hmm,
India and Brazil are trialing CBDCs as we speak.
yeah, just in limited communities, right?
Yeah,
Hmm.
and then I reckon the UK Rishi's that big on it. So next year, year after,
Yeah. Next year we'll start seeing things falling into place more. Well, we've been working this out over probably just a couple of months,
yeah,
and it's moving fast as we're seeing it. So it's only going to get faster as they line up more and more things. I need to go for a piss, so we've been on for over 2 hours.
yeah. Right, we'll call it now.
All right, guys, thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, nice one, guys.
If you want to be a guest on the show and you've anything that we've talked about today, you've got any theories or inputs or different point of view, or you share the same point of view, then email us at the team at alt-ernative.co.uk.
Yeah, and follow us on Twitter. Alt_ARN.
And then alt_CAMERN. I'll put them up both on the screen. Right.
So that, guys.
Thanks, guys. See you later.